Coming up on the Sunday Footy Show, Damo's agenda. He's going to look at the SCG surface. Rory is going to go into taggers and what's going on there. Llordo, a deep dive on the Demons disaster. And Isaac Smith, well, he'll talk about Isaac Smith. But where's TJ? That's all to be revealed.
Good chompers, eh?
Very good morning and welcome to the Sunday Footy Show. It's been a big round 16 so far. The Pies are 10 points clear and the Dogs and the Hawks have made their move. Different sort of panel today. We'll get into that, but we'll start from right to left and everybody's favourite journalist, Damien Barrett.
Hey, Browny, we got yet another reminder that at age 37, Scotty Pendlebury is still among the very best in the game last night.
Oh, he absolutely is. And big Ranger Rory down there. Got any facts for us today, Rory?
Oh, you wait and see, Browny. I'll bring those in later. But another senior player, Jack Gunston, on fire yesterday down in Tasmania. 7 goals. Unbelievable from Jack.
And the Velvet Sledgehammer is here as always.
Thanks, Browny. Unfortunately, at round 16, there's a lot of average sides. So I just hope the Sydney Swans and Port Adelaide can continue on improving. Otherwise, it's going to be a long, long back.
And speaking of Velvet, the man in the velvet jacket right next to me is Isaac Smith.
You're a very funny man, Nate. Nothing better sitting next to you. Can't wait to stitch up today.
Yeah, good start, Isaac. Well done. OK, so there you might see a different sort of panel. Now, TJ isn't here today. He's on a little bit of a holiday, rest and relaxation. We hope he has a great day, Damo, but do you know why he's not here?
Well, he loves his food, doesn't he? And Llordo and I have just looked behind the scenes as to where he might be doing this week. He loves his gourmet food. He loves eating without utensils, and KFC comes to mind pretty quickly. Llordo, he's known to love that side of his retirement.
Yeah, or could he be looking for an early morning ice cream, Damo?
Well, he could be looking for an early morning ice cream. We know he loves the beach.
That's bad.
He loves the sand. He loves the water.
Or could he be at a boot camp this morning? He's just decided to have some
Cankles.
I was even wardrobe said, could he be in the dentist chair as well this morning, getting some extra work done? So we're not sure where he is this morning.
No, we're not. But we know that he's also developed a love of nature and Wales specifically, Brownie, off the back of this conversation he had with the talkback caller on 3AW last year.
Tom's given us a call from Warrnambool. G'day, Tom.
Hey, Tony, we've got the whales here at the moment. It's not that far. I bet take the kids down to have a look. They've got a bag of bread they're going to feed them.
Hang on, how close do you get?
Yeah, you get to pat them and you can feed them bread, old-style bread.
Really?
Yeah,
You can actually walk out onto the viewing platform and hand feed the whales.
yeah.
Wow. Wait, can you get some video for us? Wow.
Well,
They're off the pier, are they?
we think he's exploring this possibility, Llordo. We've got AI to help us on this, by the way. So we think he might also be doing this week. Just feeding the whales off the pier. That's TJ feeding the big whale.
Tony?
That's Tony.
That's Tony. That looks like the Sopranos, Damo.
It did look like Tony Soprano, but it's Tony Jones.
I tell you what, we thought he was going to Wimbledon for 4 weeks. I was so excited because I was going to get the host for 4 weeks. I think it's only going to be the 1 week today, but we did get some people to speak on my behalf, wishing me luck, so we thought we'd choose the best one of them.
He's got rid of TJ.
Apparently so.
Nate's got the knife out.
Good luck, Nate.
Who's the best host?
You tell me, Chief.
Oh, Nate, I would have thought. Who's the best host?
I think I said Nadal, Federer. Take your pick. They're both very good. Good
So
luck.
you're sitting on the fence.
Yes. I love them both.
I think TJ's done. I think Nate owns it now. That's what he tells me anyway. Every Monday I see him playing tennis and he says, I run the Channel 9 Footy Show on Sunday. So TJ, ship off, mate. You're done. Chompers golf. See ya.
Chompity chomp.
Very good. Thank you to the Chief there. Let's get straight into the results.
You're such jokers, aren't you? And I mean jokers as in like funny jokers, not the other joker anyway. We'll move on
You're rolling
to
out
the
your own
results.
sort of humour.
Yeah, you guys are with me or not? Anyway, Port were unbelievable on Thursday night. Carlton very disappointing. Western Bulldogs in the game of the round were too good for Sydney. Gold Coast destroyed Melbourne. I'll get Llordo's thoughts on Melbourne's first quarter. Hawthorn were ruthless against North Melbourne, and Collingwood just scrapped one out against the valiant West Coast.
They did, and that's all they needed to do, Rory, because it now looks like this. 10 points clear on the ladder after 15 games. Just the 2 losses to the Pies. Hawthorn gained 7 points in a demolition of North Melbourne in Tasmania yesterday. The Bulldogs making a move. The Gold Coast Suns, for the first time in 4 matches, back on the winners list. And then the bottom line 9 is ordinary looking. North Melbourne let themselves down yesterday. Their first bad game in 9 weeks. And West Coast OK against Collingwood, but still only 1 win for the season.
Llordo, it was top against bottom last night at Marvel Stadium. The Pies got the job done. West Coast are OK.
Yeah, teams are coming hard for Collingwood. Here's Scott Pendlebury speaking after the game about what went wrong in that first half.
Yeah, we knew they've been really competitive in games, and I think early on we were just trying to be a little bit too cute, and we just sort of got realigned to what we wanted. We felt our pressure, and that was good. We just, we struggled all night to really finish the play.
Yeah, what does too cute look like? And that was over handballing. I thought they handballed far too much, and they just ran themselves into pressure. And Nick Dacos was a part of that. I think that whether it's because he's been getting tagged a lot or that he draws the ball so much, I think Nick sort of was causing a bit of trouble in that first half where they were generating just too many handballs, which didn't need to happen. And, when pressure's on, you're just inviting that pressure with that handball stuff. So even Ned Long, because he's not the best kick, he looks to bring the handballs in. And then West Coast loved it. They just kept pressing in, loved the pressure game. There's another one. So that handball's fine. But then I'll go kick that. You've got to kick that inboard. Gives it to Nick again. Pressure. And West Coast absolutely loved it. Well, this is where the change came after half-time. This is why Collingwood are the best in the business. Their ability to adjust forward, just say, give me a one-on-one chance. That's all I'm asking for. McStay, Membry, Pendlebury, there he is, kicking the ball in nice and long. One-on-one chance. The game opened up. And this one, they messed around for a while. Pendle says, no, let's just take territory, get it to that period about 10, 15 metres out for goal, and this is what can happen. So that's where they're very good. Collingwood can adjust really well on the run.
Is that a conversation they'll have with Nick Dacos and the broader team with Craig McRae? Because he got a lot of handballs last night that got himself into trouble. Yes, he's been tagged a fair bit, but is that a conversation worth having now? Yeah,
it's a strong conversation, but I think that they'll have him at Collingwood. That against the better side, they wouldn't get away with it, with what they dished up last night with too much handball and running into traffic, which isn't helping the team.
Just on that, Llordo, it was clearly a focus, though, given the attention he'd received and maybe just coming off a few percentage points off what he played last year. Now, he's still been a very good season, but they've got him back in the game, haven't they, with the Windhager tag of last week and again last night. He possibly has got 6 Brownlow votes.
Yeah, and he wants the ball that much, Isaac, that he will just do whatever he can to get it. But it's just, and he's a smart guy. He can adjust to that, you think?
Yeah, well, what I love most about it was I reckon West Coast identified that they want to give it to Nick at all costs, and I love their pressure. They didn't all collapse on the guy with the ball. They had different layers coming in, and they had a count for Nick. And I reckon it's a nice little blueprint for other teams in the back half of the season.
Yeah, and one guy that wasn't too cute in the first half was Pendles himself, actually. He had an unbelievable first half, and this is why you need senior players in your side, because they stand up when things are getting tough and you're getting challenged as a side. He stood up in the contest. He had 9 clearances, 8 score involvements, him and Sidey were there to steady the ship when they most needed it.
I thought in the first half when Collingwood weren't going well, he was the one. He played a full 4-quarter performance when most Magpies didn't.
Right through to kicking that nice goal right at the very end of the game. Look, as we look at what he did throughout the course of the game, right through to the very end, we'll take a look at what lies ahead for Collingwood, because they have got a rare luxury of what lies ahead. So 8 matches remaining, and you can take and make your own views on the quality of opponent that they are now playing. That they are 10 premiership points clear, and I think arguably, Izzy, they have got the biggest wild card in the game to return by the name of Jordan De Goey, who has twice stood up big time in finals campaigns of 2018 and 2023, right through to the grand final of both of those campaigns. They've put him away, hasn't played since their last and their second loss to Geelong some weeks ago. It's a lower leg injury, it's an Achilles injury, but they're getting him right for a possible 6-week crack at the run home.
Yeah, and this is what you want going into the finals, and I think it's as open as any year, as we've seen. But Collingwood, as you said, clear on top of the ladder. They've got some tough games in there to condition them for finals as well. They've got Adelaide late, second last game of the year, but I think we'll see Collingwood, they'll manage to go really well, try and get him firing for finals. The other one, Tom Mitchell, he's getting his numbers back up after being injured as well. So they've got depth. The beauty is when you're in their position, you can start to manage your team in this back half of the year, because the team that'll win it this year are the team that are most fresh coming into finals.
At what point do you just stick to the team, though, that's going to be playing finals?
I think what you want to do is you want to stick 80-85% of the team. So you want to have 18 players that you're set on, and then you can pull a Pendlebury out, you can pull a Sidebottom out, you can rest a Darcy Moore for a week. If Myercheck's sore because he's so important to them, you pull him out. So you can start to pull those levers a little bit, but you certainly want your core players, and I think the ones that are not necessarily your stars playing every week.
Does Tom Mitchell make his way back into that side?
I reckon he does come finals, and the only reason I say that is because of his contested possession work. And you go back to the grand final 2 years ago, I thought he was their most important player that day. I thought
Who's he replaces?
Well, that's the hard thing.
Yeah,
then you've got to find someone to take out.
Push Sidebottom to a wing.
Ned Long's playing that role at the moment.
And there'll be injuries come late in the year. You don't get a clean run of health from now all the way to the grand finals. So he'll get his opportunity, and then he's just got to take it.
Gold Coast took on the Demons yesterday, and while the score might look reasonable at the end of the game, it was all about the first quarter, Llordo.
Yeah, I'm with you, Nath. I don't care for what happened after quarter time, because this was how bad they were in that first quarter. So look at that scoreline, 37-1. They allowed too many uncontested marks for the Suns. Inside 50s, 21-6. They were smashed in the clearances. Gold Coast, are they the best there? But Melbourne have to ask questions about who they throw in there. And tackles, 8 tackles, just not good enough. So game over at quarter time. Let's take a look at where Melbourne were caught floundering. So we go here, you freeze it. Look at all the space for the Gold Coast Suns. Fritz is already charging forward. The ball's in dispute. Kind of a bit more honesty. So then, with all that space, you go inside forward 50. There's a nice. King loves that, all that space in front. So this is one where Langdon would love his time again. You know, there's just a nervousness and unease about what went on in that first quarter, and Melbourne don't know what's wrong with them. Not sure what is wrong with them, but they're far better than what they show as a football side. Next one goes in. So you're watching this, Bailey Fritsch. I'd be saying, OK, I take him. You roll down and you take him. If we're really honest about what we're doing as a team to defend the ground, well, that happens. So you look at this guy, he's just thinking, how good is football? I'm on the far side. No one's picked me up. Fritz should be being aggressive. He's still in no man's land. Yeah, OK, yeah, you just pop it over the top.
Best side shift, don't they?
They do,
and
shift.
they help out their
and team defence, that happens. And then the centre bounce, I love this one. Miller and Anderson, all involved, showing them what real football is. Win the footy, you got the sweeper behind, and then you've got the hardest gut runner in football, Took Miller, working over the top. So they taught them an absolute lesson yesterday.
Why don't you read into the rest of the game? Because Melbourne were pretty good in the second, third and fourth quarter. Why don't you read into that?
Because it's over. It's over. So I think it's your first quarter's critical. Like I even said last week about sometimes you finish a game the way you start. You start a game the way you finished the week before. North Melbourne awful against Carlton in that last quarter. Didn't show up against Hawthorn in Tasmania.
Good vision, Llordo.
Yeah, so I think it was really poor.
Yeah, well, it's interesting. I don't think they've fully shown their cards publicly of what they're doing, and I'm not saying they're rebuilding, but they're certainly reshaping their list. And they've gone here yesterday, and the little picture there, same old Demons. Those players that we're seeing in the middle of the ground, I know there's a lot of discussion around that, but when you're reshaping your team, you don't want to be opening yourself up, and I'm not sure they've got the talent underneath these guys to be throwing in a centre bounce. Then it can get really ugly. So they've gone to the draft the last 2 years. They've got Langford, Lindsay, Windsor, Tholstrup. So they've got these guys in. I think they thought they were possibly losing Pickett as well, and they may have had 2 or 3 first-round draft picks coming in at the end of this year to reshape that list again. They need a key forward. I think they're in a period of transition, but they haven't necessarily come out and said that. So I still feel like there's a little bit of pain to come.
And they've given their pick to Essendon.
Yeah. So where's Trent Rivers been in that midfield mix? He was really good at the end of last year with injuries. Cozzy Pickett's gone in there and done a great job, but where's Trent Rivers? I thought he was fantastic late last year.
I'm not sure he's a natural midfielder. Unfortunately, otherwise he'd be in there.
The problem is they've only got the 5 wins out of the 15 matches they've played, and it is same old words being spoken by Simon Goodwin on the back of those bigger names going into the midfield and failing.
Certainly around the ball. There's probably a few issues in the game. Our contest method around the ball, not only at scrimmage but at stoppage, just isn't where it needs to be right now. And it's something that we need to fix pretty quick. That's the starting point of the game.
The starting point of the game, also to a moment with Harrison Petty in the game where Braden Fiorini made contact with him. We'll await the match review office finding on that today. And Rory, as you look at it, what has to happen in this instance in the future, and what will happen specifically to Fiorini, if anything?
Yeah, well, I don't think anything to Fiorini. I think this is Harrison Petty. Unfortunately, he's going to suffer the consequences of really poor technique, and this is something I'm so big on, especially at a junior level, like teaching the right fundamental technique of a ground ball. Step over the ball, get your butt in front and protect yourself, because we don't want to see concussions in the game, but in that instance there, I think it relies on the player.
Surely Fiorini's got no case to answer there, Damo. Are you saying that he could have a look at it?
He has to look at it. He's been taken out. We'll just go back to what happened 4 weeks ago. Sam Durham here on Chera. Now, this was also bad technique, according to some people, Adam Chera in that moment. But Durham copped 3 weeks. Now, I know there's no two incidents on a game that are ever the same, but...
That's different.
Yeah.
He's elected to bump there. Fiorini hasn't bumped at all. Fiorini's picking up the footy.
Yeah, Durham's tucked the arm there. I think the one we just saw at the Gold Coast was just poor technique from Petty's behalf. And I think as a player, you've got every right to put your foot over the ball, stick your bum out and make contact with the opposition player.
Can I ask you, has Michael Christian had more of an ability to do what he wants in the last month? Because there's a lot of things that the football fans are going, oh, good decision, Michael.
I agree, Llordo. There's been 3 or 4 incidents now that have been just overlooked since the decision publicly to bring Greg Swan in. Now, he hasn't started, nor has Tom Harley, but there has been a reflection, I think, in that overall big picture change at the top with what's happening in the match review.
So would you call that common sense, Damien?
Yeah, I do. I think it's what has been lacking, and I think Michael Christian, without using that phrase himself, has referred to that.
Sounds like that. Let's head to Tassie. Yesterday, the Kangaroos have been pretty good for a couple of weeks, but it was all about the Hawks yesterday. They smashed the Kangaroos, and the veterans just keep on going, Llordo.
Yeah, he's what a smart player. He's Jack Gunston, and I must admit, I've said a number of times, I think Jack it's over for Jack, and I've got that wrong because of the form that he is in. We saw Toby Pink get a hold of Curnow last week, and I know Carlton aren't going as well as Hawthorn, but Curnow just didn't work enough, and he just didn't do enough, whereas you might want to go and watch a tape of Jack Gunston and his movement. He's
a good hailer boy, Lloyd. The thing that most impressed me about Gunner's game yesterday, he had 2 shots from outside 50, and you know his body's going well, his back's feeling good, when he can just lay back on that and knock that over. That would have carried 60, 65 metres, so he's in as good a form as any forward in the comp at the moment.
We've been talking about the Kangaroos the last couple of weeks, and the fact that they have been at the contest. Their tackle numbers have been good, their pressure has been outstanding, but look at the tackle count. We said they'd set a standard and they could never go back to what they did. 77, 65 and 40. They just didn't turn up yesterday the way they did the 2 weeks before that. And it's pretty disappointing when you think about the supporters. They got excited. Even you got excited, Damo. You're almost on the bandwagon a couple of weeks ago.
I needed one more week of the good form, Llordo.
They just needed to do it again, didn't they?
They did. And look, it was 85 points or whatever it was, but it could have been 110, 120 the way they played. And, yeah, the sustainability of what they had done for the previous 8 weeks is clearly at question.
Yeah, absolutely. They averaged like 60 tackles for the year, and they were 40 yesterday. It was just they just got beaten up around the ball, and I'll get Massimo's thoughts on that a bit later, what the mindset is.
And one of their players of the future has now had a 3rd concussion moment inside effectively 12 months of footy. This is George Wardlaw, who, again, very innocuously here with Connor Nash, had this happen to him and was taken out of the game. It was round 16 last year where at training he was forced to miss a couple of weeks, and there was a delayed symptoms in round 20 last year, and then round 16 we get to this year and he's been subbed out again. So 3 times in the space of 12 months. He's only played the 35 games of footy. They are being ultra cautious with him, but it's 3 times too many for someone so young.
Well, how concerned are you for George, and how would you manage him?
Well, they will be cautious. Absolutely, they will, because he is the future for them. Again, the ruling on him yesterday was of the cautious nature, but that's what doctors have to be in these circumstances.
I think everyone in footy loves the way George goes about it, the way he trains, the way he plays, and he makes a big impact on North Melbourne. I think it gets to the stage where now they have to coach him a little bit different.
It's hard to change the way you play at that age.
It is hard the way to... But he's going to end his career early if he's not able to adapt in certain situations. So I reckon he's one of the best young players to watch in the game. I'd love to see him just change a little bit of his technique around the stoppage.
You mentioned Massimo, who'll be coming up to talk about the Hawks' big wing. Ned Long from the Pies, he'll also join us. But it was Friday night footy. It was the Dogs up against the Sydney Swans. Bont's 250th, and the Dogs, they've found another one.
Yeah, it was one of the best games of the season. I really enjoyed it. High quality. Sydney are going to take some scalps in the run home. That's how well they played. But Joel Frazier turned the game. We all thought it's going to be all about Isaac Heaney, because Heaney kicked 4 goals in this 3rd quarter to have 5 for the game. But this man said, OK, someone's got to step up, and he did. They looked in trouble through the midway part of the third quarter. He's so clean, he's tough, he doesn't waste a disposal, Rory.
No, he doesn't. And what I love about him, his spread is unbelievable. That goal there was off the back of a contested ball he won at the half-back flank and just outspread the rest of City's midfields. I love seeing him back in the midfield, Izzy. With Trelaw out, where do you see his
Just
role
on
now?
this first, Rory, I've been critical of Luke Beveridge at times. What are you doing with Daniel? Why is Jack McRae doing this? Bailey Smith. So he's played players out of position, but he's maybe looking at what's coming next at times, and he's vindicated with some of these players he's got playing good footy.
Yeah, he has. He's got players playing great footy. And you even look at Kennedy coming from Carlton and what he was doing last year at Carlton, his ability to have impact on the game. So I love what Bevo's doing. The concern for Bevo, and he'll know this, is their defence at the moment. If they're going to make a run at the finals, they're going to make a run at winning the premiership, they need to tighten up. They're conceding too many points going the other way. So
you don't think they can win the flag with the current back six?
No, I don't think they can't win it with the current back six. I think they might have to tighten up their offence a little bit to then tighten up their defence, because against the top 9 sides in the competition, they're ranked 12th for points against. So if you want to be competing grand final day, you want to be in the top sort of 4 for defence, and you want to be in the offence, no worries. Offence, they're probably the best team in the competition going forward. They've just got to tighten up that defence, and maybe that comes at a cost that you don't get so many scores from clearance.
And can that happen on the run? Or is that more for next year?
No, it can happen on the run, and it's not necessarily personnel based. It's the way you move the footy, the way you set your team up behind the ball. Going inside 50, don't necessarily score straight away. Sometimes get stoppages, block up behind it. So transition, they get hurt a little bit. So it's going to be a fascinating watch, because offensively, they've got some unicorns playing.
Let's head all the way back to Thursday night, Adelaide Oval, and it was just the first quarter, Damien, that the Blues just couldn't afford to have.
It was, Browny, coming off the North Melbourne loss the previous week, and it left that man, Michael Voss, the coach of the club, in a world of hurt when it comes to what happens to his situation, and more, I suppose, pertinently, the entire football club, as Graham Wright puts his feet officially under the desk as CEO in the coming weeks. And yeah, there's a lot of soul-searching going on. The backing up of the North Melbourne game with the poor performance of Port Adelaide, you could probably get away with one of those 2 performances, Llordo, but unlikely to get away with 2. When I say get away with, just they're going to rip everything apart now and have a look at how it looks. And he is contracted, Michael Voss. I fully expect him to be coaching next year, but it's clearly going to be the decision of one man. And the fans, I mean, I don't know. I don't pay too much attention to that. That's just attention-seeking people making these statements the morning after the game. It's like the talkback callers on radio. But there is a lot of...
Off the back of this, they had to ramp up security for Vossi at a VFL game.
Yeah, well, that's just not right, full stop, is it, in any circumstance?
No, not at all.
Yeah.
On T to K, do you think he's struggling? Could we look at that he's struggling with the whole deal and everything like that? Could we attribute sometimes, I just wonder, unless he's going to St Kilda, where he has to just hold, you might want to sign that contract with Carlton if he's going to stay, because I just wonder how
the pressure comes much more if you're going to take 1.7 and you're expected to play as a $1.7 million player. The pressure's only going to get bigger.
I know it was Sherry, and we wondered whether it was just that he was too big and physical for him, but he got beaten by a kid.
Jordan Sweet and Vicentini as a double whammy. Yeah, and look, the past 2 weeks have been bad for the football club in totality, but the personality side of it, or personnel side of it, with Tom De Koning, he has had 2 of his worst games for the year.
Yeah, and then it was hard watching, the amount of Carlton players that have had to come out and support their coach and their club. Last week it was Cripps and Jacob Wiedering.
We're in it together. We're not going to point fingers, we're not going to point blame at anyone else. We're going to take complete ownership, and especially as players, it's really important we take ownership now. Like, I feel like as players we need to aim up a bit more.
There'll be some honest conversations, I think, and would be silly not to sort of look into, when the pressure comes on, what are we doing as players and as leaders. It's not just on Vossi, it's the entire group, it's the club. We've got to take a one-in, all-in approach.
Browny, unfortunately though, that was before the Port Adelaide game.
Yeah.
But then they served that up in the first quarter, so that's a big concern for Carlton.
You look at their list at the moment, and of the players who played the other night, I don't think they have one elite kick in that starting 22. So if you're an elite, you're good, you're average, or you're a poor kick. I look at Collingwood, Dacos, Sidebottom, Pendlebury, Houston, Jamie Elliott, all elite kicks. These are, when I say elite, I mean game-changing kicks who are happy to take the game on through the middle of the ground and change the way the game is played. I look at Carlton and I think there are a lot of safe kicks there. I don't see one elite kick, so maybe Tom De Koning going out is an opportunity for them to rebuild that list and get some kickers in. Maybe they go after Miles Bergman. We talk about Jagger Smith, who's meant to be an elite kick, hasn't played yet, but I think they've got to go to the draft and then get another couple of elite kicks, because if you don't have kickers in 2025, 2026, you're not going to be able to get through through because sides are so good defensively and the Blues just don't have one elite kick. That's only my opinion. That's not off champion data. That's just off plain sight.
Spoke last week around tagging and how it can affect your team where it pulls apart your structure, OK? So I want to look at Miles Bergman. He did a great role on Paddy Cripps at stoppages, but this is in offence, OK? Look at the separation here. Watch Miles Bergman and how he uses his weapon, his run. He wants to be involved in these next passages of play. So at stoppages, he'll do his body work, but look, there's just a gap opening up. He doesn't want to just play a lockdown role against Paddy Cripps. He wants to be involved, get involved in offence and become a damaging player in offence too. Again, this is from a kick out. He knows he's on Paddy Cripps. He's not just playing a role and locking down. He wants to get used. And the boys know it too. The boys will block for him. They want to get the ball in his hands because nothing's worse than being when you're being tagged and players get used easy.
The thing that pops up there is that no other Carlton player is swiveling their head. Cripps, your most important midfielder, you know his weakness in the sense that he's not going to be able to transition with Bergman. You should have other players around him that are trying to cover that, help him out, work as a team. They look like they're working in silos at the moment.
They do, and this one, it was great stoppage work from Miles, but then in offence, he goes. And when Cripps was off, he rolled over onto Chair and a couple other types, but again, stoppage work, defend hard, but then when we've got it, I'm going to run, I'm going to get used, and that's, for me, that's what Kane Corns was great at. Lingy was really good at, was doing a job at stoppages, but then spreading after, and that's how I think the modern tagger should play, more of a run with roll.
All right, that's all the footy. Now here comes the fun. And Ranger Rory himself, he'll kick us off.
Well, got to get back to my seat first. Where am I? All right, so we've got TJ. We know, like, in TV, you can ramble on at times. TJ, like, I feel
he's a rambler.
He's a rambler, absolutely. And some people, a man that used to sit in this seat, just never liked a rambler.
But it's anything other than a coach coaching for his survival over the next 7 or 8 weeks.
And our other fearless leader today found himself in a situation on community radio. I'm not sure why you're on community radio, Browny, but found himself getting cut off. Have a listen.
How did you make your way to the Tigers? Because you had a stellar career at the Bulldogs.
Yeah, well, I may...
Been cut off? Just may not have wanted to hear this story after the question. It's been a lullaby in
there. Are you
there?
We've got some sort of technical problem with Nathan Brown. Hopefully we can sort that out. But yeah, it's just some sort of background. Are you there, Brownie?
To the Western Bulldogs, I was just injured a lot after the broken leg at the Tigers.
We missed all of that. Due to some sort of technical issue, but I'm assured it was great.
Even after being cut off for most of that interview, you got the key points out.
I just ploughed through.
Left for money, broken leg.
Well, we've got Rambler TJ, we've got Ranger Rory, and last time I was on the show, I had to put up with this trot.
Yeah, baby! Oh, damn, baby! There it is! Woo! Woo! Here we go!
Shut up, Rory.
Where's the footage of actual game?
Go Crows! You're a supporter.
I had to fill 50,000 people.
So, Rory, every captain has their strength.
Yep.
Chat certainly isn't yours, because then I dug deep into the archives and found this.
Moose? No. With those arms, you take the sleeves off, please. You've done all this work, mate. You serious? It's 38 degrees and your pipes are amazing and you're going to keep them on. I love a set of long legs. Like, you've got them.
Good.
Nice, Bert. Lovely long legs.
Inspirational.
Footy's fun, mate.
Have a laugh. Gee whiz. Blokes didn't win a flag.
Oh, no. Now, we got to see the 250th game of one of the all-time greats in the competition. I'm just talking about Bulldogs great, but all-time greats in that man there, Marcus Bontempelli, being chaired off by Aaron Norton and Tom Vittori after a big win on Friday night against the Swans. And it's a great story of perseverance. Brownie effectively coming from nowhere, being taken high in the draft because he had a lot of doubters early on, and one of the greatest names and greatest players to ever play the game was one of those doubters. I'm referring to you, Matthew Lloyd.
That's true.
Back in 2013. Now, Steve-O has kept receipts on this. Steve-O liked it, and Llordo accused him of drinking the Bulldogs Kool-Aid when he said go for Aish, and then Patrick Keane of the AFL came in on top of this, and Llordo's doubled down. So we've gone back 12 years to keep this receipt. It's an old segment. Receipts is back, Brownie, on the Sunday Footy Show.
Oh, poor Aish. No, it's true. It's true. Got that one wrong.
Really?
And do you reckon receipts could have it on life?
That's why I haven't been on Twitter for 20 years.
Just left that one.
How did that feel?
It's all good.
Okay, so we've had a problem in at the AFL for the last few weeks. So this is the trilogy. So we've had Damo, who's been absolutely filthy.
We've done again on this.
926 goals. So you might not know, but that's Damo over to left. You can just see his shoes to the side there. And then last week he said, I need to be in shot. But then they just, the camera hates you. The camera hates you. But I'll put it to you, Damo, that you've gone to the AFL this week and you've demanded that you be in there. And don't worry about the 926 goals that he has kicked. You've said, I need Lord out. Let's have a look.
Look at the pan. Get him out.
This is you last week, Damo.
I think you've got to the social media group.
You've got to them, Damo.
You couldn't have a fourth week in there. That's 3 weeks in a row on that. I think you need some new material.
It was a stretch that one, to be honest. Now, we all need mentors in life, and us three, through our football, have really had them. So we take a look. Sheedy was mine. Plough and Browny had a great relationship. Clarko's been awesome for Isaac. Rory, I didn't go for you because you had 7 coaches at the Crows. But even in the newsroom, you need a mentor. But unfortunately, TJ is Tom Morrison. Look at what Tom delivered in a podcast recently.
Tony Jones said to me, I hope I'm not breaking any confidence here. Chompers said to me on my first day at Channel 9 in January last year, if you do a story with a player, it's as much about you as it is.
I love that from him, though.
Which is
so true.
And I just, my eyes were putting in my head. I'm like, who cares? Anyway, as a result, the amount of time, the amount of on-camera time I get when I do a story with someone is on about parity with the person that I'm talking about, which is just absurd.
So we take a look at the history of TJ. So Tom, he's taken that advice. Look at that. So we've got the Stewie Jew one where we looked at the 2 shots. So 2-shot Tony, that's how it started. So he's gone 13 2 shots with Paps. Now, I don't even know what this story was. It was disappointing. Terrible. 13.
Oh, look.
And then Tommy Morris. He interviewed Ed Richards during the week. And have a look at this one. Straight off the top, Tommy Morris, 2-shot. Tommy now. So he's got 2, 3.
Bulldog through and through. But
He had 86 seconds, Llordo, of a 126-second piece to camera.
Damo, what advice would you give to Tom?
No, he's learnt from the best, and he's framing himself in, Llordo. He's framing himself in.
The hair transplant's coming along well, isn't it? It's starting to thicken right up, Damo.
Taken, yeah.
Are you going to...
It's too late for me. I'm way too gone.
All right. Did you feel like they were...
That's all right.
Yeah. I think we can do better next week. Hey, we're going to go to a break. Up after the break, Ned Long from the Pies in Collingwood's big win over the West Coast Eagles. Welcome back to the Sunday Footy Show. The Pies went 10 points clear on the top of the AFL ladder with a good win against the West Coast Eagles. 29 points in the end. They did it late, Llordo.
Yeah, it was a very even performance from Collingwood. Well done to the West Coast Eagles. One of their better performances of the season, despite the loss. So if they can keep that up, they may win another game or 2 before the year's out. But Browny, was 8 goals to 2 after half-time. A fantastic adjustment by Collingwood. Ned Long been good enough to join us this morning. Ned, can you talk us through some of the coaching from the coaches or just the senior players at Collingwood about how you turned that game around last night?
Yeah, I think they came out really strong and they were really strong in the contest. And so, I think around us it was just sticking to our system and knowing that over 4 quarters that if we continue to follow our process, it'll be strong enough to get over the line. So I think we're a little bit stronger in the contest, and then just some smarter ball use decisions in the second half really helped us.
So we did touch on that earlier about, Pendles used the word too cute after the game. Did you believe that was part of it, despite how good their pressure was?
Well, sort of like you're saying, I think we invited the pressure a little bit by being too cute, overusing it by hand. Pressure really strong and they're really coming at us, but we invited that by overusing hands. So just getting a little bit more territory in the second half, I think, made a big difference and allowed our forwards to get in some one-on-ones and it was a much better look for us.
Hey, Ned, you're by far you're the best side in the competition. That's why you're 2.5 games clear. But does Fly ever talk about the fact that teams will bring a greater effort because they're taking on the best in Collingwood?
I think we have spoken about it. I think we've spoken out trying to, flip that approach and become the hunters rather than the hunted. So we try and come out against whoever we're playing and come with a real aggression and a lot of pressure, no matter the game. So, yeah, I guess we try and flip that around.
Ned, congratulations on your performance again. 21 disposals, 6 clearances. As a clearance player, are you confused about the holding the ball rule at the moment? There's a couple of contentious ones last night.
Yeah, no, it has been a little bit confusing, I guess. I don't know. I feel like it's always been a little bit hard. It's a very hard game to umpire, so I'm not acting like I'd do a better job myself. But yeah, it can be a little bit confusing at times.
This is the one, Browny, where Ned himself was flipped.
Yeah.
Play on, but then Duggan just gets wrapped
the
up.
two differences in 10 seconds, yeah.
I'd let both of them play on. Yeah, I'd rather see the game move and flow. But Ned, while you're on anyway, I listened to Nick Dacos after the game as well, and he said Fly's given him the freedom to get as many contests as possible, and sometimes he may get burnt going back the other way. Does that mean you've got to pick up the slack for him?
Look, I think our whole team sort of works pretty well together and we're pretty connected. So, yeah, Nick definitely works hard. I think he works hard both ways. But, yeah, because he's so powerful and so good in offence, he definitely has a bit of a licence to get after it more that way. And then I guess it's between the rest of us midfielders as well as our defenders to sort of make sure that nothing's slipping through the cracks.
And it's as good as I've seen you guys look after him last week, getting stuck into markers too. So that's been a clear focus to help look after him in these situations when tagged.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they come pretty hard at him, obviously, the Melbourne game and then the St Kilda game. And, yeah, I think it's just been a focus. We support him and he's one of us. And if they come at him, we come right back at them. So, yeah, I think it's been really strong. And, yeah, you saw it really strongly in that St Kilda game.
And Ned, let's talk about the fine wine in Scott Pendlebury. 28 disposals, a goal. He took the P155 there in the centre bounce all night. He was able to get separation. Just tell us a little bit about him.
He's just class. As you're seeing in a few of these highlights, he just, I don't know how he does it. He just finds a way to get separation and he doesn't have to go too fast, but he just knows exactly what to do and where to be and times it perfectly. And then ball in hand, he's probably one of the best in the comp. So, yeah, he's a special player and seems like he's got a lot of footy left in him.
And then as you continue to talk about Scotty Pendlebury being 37 years old and the oldest player in the competition, there's also an investment from Craig McRae into people like yourself who've had chances at other footy clubs and are still young in the game. When you look at Charlie West being part of last night's team, Charlie Dean, Ed Allen, and obviously you can speak to this experience yourself given the investment that Craig McRae has made in you to help make Collingwood better.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I've spoken about it before. I think Fly's belief in players is really strong, and it's helped me go a long way. Where our VFL program's going really well at the moment, and we've got a lot of boys playing really strong footy in there. And so both Charlie West and Charlie Dean more than deserved their game, and that's what happens when you're in a good team. You've got a lot of players that deserve games and sometimes it's hard to get in, but yeah, Fly's really good at giving boys a chance and then instilling that belief that they're good enough at the level to perform. So yeah, I think he does that really well.
Ned, I think most people thought you'd win that game by 10 plus goals, bordering on 100 points last night, top against bottom. What impressed you about the West Coast Eagles?
Yeah, I guess I mentioned it just before, but their contest was really strong. They're really aggressive and came out hard. Their defence and their pressure was really good. And then I thought ball in hand, they probably surprised us a little bit with sort of how they moved the ball. And so, yeah, I thought they played a really balanced game and showed up for, all 4 quarters.
The votes last night, Ned, all Magpies. Scott Pendlebury clearly best on ground for mine because he used it really, really well. Nick Dacos was good. Josh Dacos is having a wonderful year. And I loved how, when the game was going against Collingwood in that first half, I thought he was magnificent.
Couldn't get Ned in?
No, couldn't. But he's had another good game.
Best prize pack in the business, a family pass to Gumbaya World, where water slides, thrill rides and wildlife collide. Just don't get out the quackers.
They bite.
A Hit Fit membership, combined body weight and boxing for a full body workout. You got a good rig yourself. You'll be best dressed on the course, thanks to Clutch & Co. And we'll kit you out in Catstar, Brad Close's clothing brand. Be Close, your swing, your style. A box of Chrome Tour golf balls and a cap, thanks to Callaway. Bar Fridges Australia are back for all your beer and wine cooling needs. A pair of Aquila's premium quality footwear since 1958. I think Jakey Melksham's got about 12 of those. A pair of Rick's eyewear that inspires confidence. And TJ, not here today, but he might be having a free meal down at Platform 28, the best pub in the Docklands. And elevate your wardrobe with the latest streetwear style from St. Goliath. 2 pairs of hybrid undies in a mid and a long leg from the Better Collection. They've sewn elastic into the groin line, which is an absolute game changer, Rory. Trust me, I've got some. Treat yourself to a batch of Daniel's Donuts. Book a delivery online today. And some nice caps from Travis Matthew. That is the big prize pack. Ned, we really appreciate you giving up your time on a Sunday. You got the Blue Baggers next Friday night or Saturday, I think.
Friday night.
Yeah, next Friday night.
Appreciate you giving up your time. Good luck for the Pies the rest of the season.
Thanks, boys. Thanks for having me on.
Apologies for saying goodbye twice, but, just a couple of chances to get Ned back on there. We're going to head to a break on the Sunday Footy Show. The Hawks' big win over the Kangaroos up next. Yesterday down in Tassie, the Hawks absolutely did a number on the Kangaroos. 85-point shellacking, Rory.
Yeah, it was disappointing from North. Hawthorn were absolutely ruthless in their performance. Their forwards were on fire. Gunston 7, Chol couldn't miss. Watson ignited Hawthorn in that first quarter with some of his pressure. But one man who's been kind enough to join us is Massimo D'Ambrosio. Welcome to the show, mate.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and as I said just before, it was a ruthless performance. I think 4-quarter performance. You guys didn't let up yesterday.
Yeah, no, it was a good game by us. I think, in the first quarter we gathered momentum and just keep kicking goals. But, I think that was we just kept playing our way for the majority of the game and it held us in good stead.
Yeah. And you've been in ripping form too. You just signed another 3-year contract, so well deserved. But yesterday you were in ripping form and you're feeling good.
No, thank you. Yeah, feeling good in my role and, just want to play a part in my role for the team and really looking forward to just keep building and hopefully play finals footy this year.
And Mass, yesterday it was all about one man, let's be honest. Jack Gunston, career high, 7 goals. He absolutely dominated. He ripped that North Melbourne defence apart. But I want to talk more about what he's doing off field. I feel like he's giving this group a lot of confidence in the way they're going about it.
Yeah, definitely. I was actually lucky enough to kick him the ball there when he kicked his 7th. But he's such a great leader for us off the field, and he's bringing everyone along with him, and he takes a lot of the boys in for vision and showing them the way. So he's been awesome for a lot of boys at the club, and great leader for all of us.
You seem to be aware as a group that goal there was the career high for him. How important is it to celebrate with him and even help him to get to it?
Oh, yeah, look, we just want to play our way, but for him to kick 7 in a game, he's never done it before, and we were aware of that, and for him to get that and still be breaking records at 33 years old is pretty good.
I'm fascinated by your growth since you've gone to Hawthorn and the vision of you being taught how to go both ways. Zoolander, I think it was called, wasn't it?
Yeah, Zoolander, yeah.
So talk us through how Sam Mitchell said to you, I need to get you better to improve yourself, but also the Hawthorn Footy Club.
Yeah, I think it was started last year, but also my exit interview last year, I just really wanted to improve on things in my game, and Sam mentioned that he wanted me to be able to roll both ways, and it's not necessarily I need to use my right foot all the time. It's more just being able to roll that way, and I did a lot of work in the off-season. I think it's held me in good stead for the year.
So have you watched Zoolander?
I did. He made me watch it, yeah. And then, he made me watch it and then bring points back to the group. So
you hit the ground running at the Hawks and obviously a new 3-year deal. Why weren't you getting a game at the Bombers?
Oh, I'm not too sure, but over at the Hawks, I just getting a bit more opportunity playing on the wing, and I'm really loving my role at the Hawks.
Go up forward, been playing unbelievable footy. Marbiel Chol, he just doesn't miss in front of goals, but you must be loving playing with him at the moment.
Oh yeah, I think what sets him up to play well is his pressure around the ball, and that's something that's really underrated in his game for a big man. And
that was one of the best chase down tackles.
Yeah,
we'll probably show it in a second, but unbelievable chase down tackle.
Yeah, definitely, and he's done that a few times this year, and his pressure around the ball is something that we need him to bring, and I feel like he brings him in the game. So, yeah, he's been awesome for us, and for him to just finish his work is just a bonus.
Yesterday, Mass, I thought the best three players on the ground were forwards. I thought Chol, Watson did a lot of work early, and then Gunston was best on ground. But the other one was Ramsden. Haven't seen much of him. Young kid, Mitchy Lewis is coming up from an ACL, and you've got Deer back in the VFL as well. But it looked like as the game went on, he grew with confidence. His last goal, he took a big contested mark and then had a big smile on his face before he kicked it.
Yeah, I think Rummer's resilience has been awesome. I think in the first quarter or second quarter, he missed a goal probably 30 metres out, but then he was able to keep his head in the game and finish his work off and give a couple off. And I think his presence around the ground has been awesome for us. And I think the depth in our group is going to hold us in good stead for the rest of the year.
You mentioned Sam Mitchell before and what he's done for you personally. What's he done for the group this year, given that you're coming off a semi-final outcome of 2024 and their expectations being raised even before the season started? You got to this stage with a 10-win, 5-loss scoreline. It's coming together quite nicely with this expectation, isn't it?
Yeah, well, definitely. I know there's external expectation, but within us, we know what we need to bring each week, and we know if we bring that and bring our pressure and be predictable to each other and play our roles, we know we'll hold ourselves in good stead for each game.
Feels like everyone plays their role at the Hawks. Now, Isaac's pulled me aside before the show to say that I'm number 16 at the Hawks, you're number 16, and I presented him his jumper. Can you get that into the show?
Oh, geez, if I can have half the career Isaac did, I'd be happy. So.
No, I paid Matt to say that.
Did I also hear you say you're not a stats man on the ad break?
No, I'm not a stats man.
I reckon you knew at three-quarter time and that Norm Smith was on the line. Just how many stats you need.
Well, in 2015, I didn't get a touch in the last quarter, so I made sure I said slippery.
Hey, tell us what Nick Watson's like away. We see him on the footy field, we see him up and about kicking goals, he's electric. What's he like away when you're at the football club with no cameras around? What's he like?
Oh, he's awesome. He's definitely, someone that everyone wants to be around, and he brings such a great energy to everyone around him. So, what he does on the field is pretty exciting, and I think his centre bounce goal was just a snippet of what he can do in the AFL. So, he's awesome to have at the club.
And you're a big food man, mate. Do you like pumping up your Italian food? You got a 60th birthday today. What's going to happen?
There'll be a lot of food there. So, keen for some pasta.
Favourite dish?
Probably some gnocchi. That's my favourite dish from my nonna.
And you're also a My Room ambassador?
I am, yes. Yeah, I love giving back to charity and to people in need. So, when I can, I'll give back to a lot of people.
Browny, the big famous catch-up, myself, Zach Merritt and the other captains. We had a spy there, and there's me trying to hold court.
Massimo!
Yeah, Massimo in the background.
Little secret answer in there.
Yeah, you can't script that. But I was just having a coffee with Jules, my manager, and Yeah.
I'm going to put it to you, Llordo, that you've tried to sabotage the football club. Since you had that meeting with Zach Merritt, hasn't had a kick.
Well,
and Brad Scott's been playing him in the back line.
There's a rumour. There's a little rumour floating around about this, isn't there?
The injuries haven't helped, so let's
What were they talking about, Mass?
Yeah. Mate, I couldn't tell you. Yeah, I didn't hear him, so...
He's played in the back line ever since Zach Merritt. Who got the votes?
Who got the votes? Well, we can't go to the past man, Jack Gunston, who kicked 7 goals. Carl Amon, I thought, set the game up that first half. John Newcombe broke through the tag incredibly well. Marviel Chol gets my 7-2, so... Very, very ruthless performance from Hawthorn.
Nice one, Massimo. We appreciate you giving up your time. You're going to be on the handball later. You're a beautiful kick of the football. How do the hands go?
The hands are okay. I wouldn't say they're the best, but I'm looking forward to it.
Looking forward to it. So we'll catch up with you a little bit later. Llordo, deep dive up next. Top 30 players. Who? Give us a clue.
A guy that the game stops for.
A guy that the game stops for. That is good. I like that. Well, Llordo's deep dive coming up next on the Sunday Footy Show.
Who knows footy? Footy Classified. That's who.
He's welcome in the club whenever he wants. Tell me you've been right across it.
Taking you behind the headlines of the latest footy news.
Unbelievable vision from both of you.
The new breakers.
Are they soft launching maybe a mini rebuild here?
All new Footy Classified. Monday on 9 and 9 now.
The deep dive this morning, want to celebrate the career of Scott Pendlebury. It's his 20th season of AFL football and he got the 3 Brownlow votes. You would have thought last night for best on ground against the Eagles. 416 games and counting for Scott Pendlebury. 2 premierships, Norm Smith, 6 All-Australians, 5 Copeland trophies. Only thing he really hasn't won is a Brownlow medal. Like Bontempelli would have loved to have seen that for Scott Pendlebury. His first game was way back in 2006 and this is Bucks hitting him lace out. Wearing number 16, Scotty Pendlebury was that night for Collingwood. Even his kicking, you can see he's probably put on close to 10 kilos since then, but the kicking technique, you can just see the class and the poise way back then with his first kick that he had. So he just moves so well, Scotty Pendlebury. Never rushes, never panics. And one of the all-time greats of the game, Damo.
Yeah, Llordo, and over those 416 games, it's been as smooth a moving career as I think we've arguably ever seen. You said off the top of our show that time just stops for him, and it does. And it stops for him even as recently as last night at age 37. And this is where it started, in 2006, and the big moments in big games. He's tougher than people wanted to, I think, initially acknowledge. He always sees something before it actually happens. And the fact, Llordo, that he's racked up 10,000 disposals. I mean, just take a breath and absorb that. 10,000 disposals in this game with a lot more to still come. He's going to be breaking Brent Harvey's record at some stage of next year when he gets through the contractual negotiations there. But, look, doing it his own way. And as you say, in the most recent game he played, you were giving him best on ground for what he did last night against West Coast. But it's as smooth a moving career as we've ever seen.
And we all see this week in and week out, Rory, but it's the things we wouldn't see from Scott Pendlebury, isn't it, that has allowed him to keep doing what he's doing at 37. He goes to lengths no one else is willing to go to.
He has. He's been the absolute trendsetter in recovery, looking after your body. He's been so diligent with that over his career, to the point that 416 games, I don't know what the ceiling is for him. Yeah. He could play so much longer, well over 450. I think he could definitely play a couple more seasons with how his body is. But speaking of Harvey and stopping time, I've always likened him to Robert Harvey in the way time just stops for him. And you spoke about this, Damo, but he always just looks like he's under no pressure. Yeah. And Robert Harvey had the same capabilities where he just always had time, could just cruise along. His penalties has never been overly quick or agile, but he just dances around people and made people look silly across his whole career.
People have said it's basketball or what. I don't know if that has anything to do with it whatsoever. Isaac, what do you reckon?
Oh, you develop skills and you acquire skills as a kid. Whether it's the basketball, I don't know. I think it's a little bit of his personality and that plays out on the field. His ability to just feign something, then see something else. But what I've loved most about Scott Pendlebury is his ability to play outstanding football in big games, highlighted in 2010. He won the Norm Smith medal and he's done this. Well, they're hard to win, Rory. But he's done this his whole career, and anytime there's a big moment for Collingwood, Scott Pendlebury's the one that stood up. In their last grand final, it was his work done in the last quarter, his ability to put Nick Dacos in the centre of the ground as well. He reads the game as well as anyone I've played against. I think you talk about his toughness, Lloyd. Playing against him, he was as tough as there was out there. And because his body's so big, when you run out against him, you think, oh, I'll be able to lay the tackle here. He's so strong through his hips. He's got some of the best pipes in AFL footy. But he was an absolute joy to play against. I remember one of our final conversations when I was finishing up. I said to him, what keeps you going, mate? And you put up all those individual accolades and it had nothing to do with that. He said, I just want more premierships. And he got one a couple of years ago and he might get another one this year.
You brought up the basketball. I don't think it's got anything to do with basketball. I just think some people are freaks and he's got a freakish ability that he's been able to harness and make better, and the way he moves the football. But you talk about the fact that you've got him as a coach now and he's an on-field coach for you, but he's also an on-field coach at Collingwood his whole career. So we see this quite often. And obviously under Craig McRae, that's been elevated to a new level, and just his ability to coach. Imagine having a coach like Craig McRae, but then someone as good as Scott Pendlebury to give you a message out on the field every day of the week.
He must be taking money out of the soft cap. He took Craig McRae's job there. He had the board. But I wonder how the coaches go with him. So, yeah, you have coaches that have a lot of experience, but you've got Scott Pendlebury in the room. How much are you using him? It'd be fascinating to see how they use him day to day during the club.
Yeah, I am fortunate enough to coach with him twice a week and then on Saturdays. But his ability to deliver a message in so few words and make it... It's the clarity is unbelievable.
You said you've learnt off him, haven't you?
Oh, I've learnt more from the game in him from anyone in my lifetime with but he says the same about what he's learnt from Craig McRae and this team. He's learnt so much from them.
It's a big statement that you've just made there. Yeah. You've learnt more of Scott Pendlebury than anybody in your lifetime in a game.
And in the modern game too, like what Shees was unbelievable, but in the modern game of how it's being treated, it's been unbelievable. And here he has been mic'd up on field as well as a player, and here it is.
Use them straight away. Don't hang on to the ball and then try and use them late. Just use them and then let's run. Go back to wherever the ball is, go to the ball. That's where we need you. Yeah. 10 to 2, just keep going. Wherever the ball goes, you go. Turn up front, centre, good things will happen. Yeah. Bobby, sit in front, Bob. Sit in front. Yeah, Krug, sit in front. Bobby, stay there, Bill. Stay there. Stay there, Krugs. Get ready to go. Get ready to go forward. Make sure when we get the ball, we stay predictable with what we want to do. But if we turn it over in dangerous spots and there's numbers, let's hurt them. Let's kick 3 or 4 on them here.
That's similar to me, Mike.
I've heard it all. So we get to the tense moments, 2023 grand final. We'll go to the third quarter and the last quarter. The game was decided by a kick, as we know, and just having him on the ground, we've already discussed it, but putting himself in that position and then going back, that's not the easiest of kick of all time in the moment of that game, in that particular period. And then this again, last quarter, you can see what he's doing here and still being prepared to take on the game, waiting for the right moment, being in the right positions in these key times. Look at the score there, 4 points up. And Llordo, you even the morning after this game and the week after were talking about how he basically controlled this game as a coach in these final moments, and then that was rewarded with the second of his 2 premiership medallions.
Yeah, you can't fully show what he did on that day where, it's kicks, marks and handballs, like it was worth 50 what he did in that last quarter for everyone, like the way they killed time off the clock. Then they fell behind.
The way they went again when they were 3 points up to get that still side-bottom goal. He ordered that.
Nick Dacos says to Scott Pendlebury, I think I need to leave the centre square at one period because he lost his confidence. He says, no, you'll win the next clearance for us. You're staying in here. Nick Dacos wins the next that goes over. I think the goey
goal
kicks the goal.
Yeah.
So it's moments like that which is priceless.
And you don't get to play 400 games, I don't think, without knowing the little things. And it is. You've got to, as a player, and it's a great lesson for young kids coming in, understand the game plan and what the coach wants you to do, and then be that arm of it to the players out there. And that comes under the little things, because the more discipline you have, the more freedom you get to have out there on game day. And this was his 400th game. They just scraped in a win. But for me, it's all the little things that he does, the coach he is on the field, that's allowed him to play so many games and that keeps getting in the game going forward.
Yeah, and he's had 3 coaches, Rory. And here is Mick Malthouse, Nathan Buckley and Craig McRae speaking of Scott Pendlebury.
In the modern era, he'd have to be the most consistently best player. And I say consistent because you rarely get a bad game there.
Yeah, the awards and stuff, they'll clearly come his way, during and post his career, but it's more than that. I think he'll be remembered for a lot of things, but maybe even that last quarter of the grand final will be one of his greatest ever.
You look at the Copeland, best and fairest results are an indication of where the coaches view you, and his consistency there has been unmatched. Top 3 finishes, let alone wins. There hasn't been a player who's contributed as much for as long as he has, in my view, and that makes him the best player that's ever played the game.
Best player that's ever played the game. Big accolade, and Scott was good enough to give us a message yesterday.
Hey, Llordo, thanks so much for sneaking me into the top 30, mate. Very much appreciated. I sit in some esteemed company there, no doubt about it. Just seeing some of the names, to think that you've rated me in that top 30 is, quite humbling from a kid from Sale. I've really enjoyed the last few years, mate, as well. Getting to know you, coach alongside you, we've created some really cool memories and wiped away a few of those memories I had as a junior, as a Melbourne supporter, watching you absolutely destroy us in the 2000 grand final. I still don't think I'll ever let you get away with that one, but I appreciate you sneaking me in, mate, to the top 30, no doubt. A little bit of bias come my way due to the coaching relationship, but I appreciate it. Cheers, mate.
What a person,
Fantastic,
great player.
fantastic. Big accolade from Bucks, as you said, the greatest pie. Do you think he's the greatest pie of all time?
I think he will go down in the end. But what do you think, Damo?
He probably does. Nathan Buckley's part of it. I still think Peter Dacos, even before Nick Dacos finishes his career, is in that conversation as well. Peter Moore, Len Thompson.
But for the total package, I think he will go down.
Great footage, great memories. Number 15 of the top 30. Well done, Llordo. Coming up after the break, the Gold Coast Suns did a job on the Demons up on the Gold Coast. Welcome back to the Sunday Footy Show. How do you think it's going today, Damo?
I think you are flying, Browny.
No, it's not about me, Damo.
It's always about you, Browny.
Have we figured out where Tony is yet? Have we figured out what he's doing?
Well, he's on the beach.
Feeding the whales,
Feeding the whales off the pier.
He's not going to
having an ice cream.
Okay.
Could be doing some motivational speeches, pre-game speeches.
Well, it worked last week.
Gold Coast up against Melbourne. Gold Coast did the job. The Demons, they were 36 points down at quarter time. Big Jakey Melksham, 5-6 for the Snake.
11 shots on goal in a losing side. It's massive, but it was Ben King and Humphrey doing the work for Gold Coast up forward, but Johnny Noble was huge. Rao was big. I thought Miller, Anderson had big games as well, and you get the same old numbers from Melbourne at the moment, but unfortunately they were unable to get the win.
As Llordo showed, I think Melbourne got beaten up around the midfield. And Matt Rao, I'm so glad he stayed at the Gold Coast Suns, because why would you want to leave? It's a beautiful place to play footy, especially winter, but his season's been outstanding. His contested work's been enormous, but as you saw before, the part he's taken to a new level, Llordo, is his kicking inside forward 50. That was on the left foot, but his touch has been so much better this year.
Oh, what a player he is, and occasionally he might have a quiet one. People might say he doesn't get enough ball on the outside, doesn't do enough of this, but every team would fall over to get him at their club. So I agree with you. I think he can win a flag maybe at the Suns in the next 2 or 3 years.
We've discussed Melbourne in depth off the top of the show, but what about the Gold Coast Suns? So where are they at? They've still got a game in hand. Are they an opportunity to finish top 4? Do you think they can contend with the big boys?
I don't think so, Brownie. I think the previous 3 weeks showed that they kept losing to the best. So I just don't think they're ready yet. So they can win a final, I think, but I would be surprised if they're in the last 4.
Do you like what they're doing with their forward line? Because they're persisting with a rather tall one, and it's working to a point. I mean, King could have kicked more than he did yesterday with the 3, and obviously Walter and Reid.
King's the key to them, obviously. He's the best of them by a country mile. Walter's been a slow burn, so he's having moments without doing a lot. And Ethan Reid, you can still look at his body shape. He's still a couple of pre-seasons away. So big, powerful midfield. Backline's pretty solid, but there's still, I think the most dangerous is they're small, like Humphrey, if he can get going, or Long's a star.
Long's been
so they're the key to that forward line.
Now, we're just talking about Scotty Pendlebury's pipes. This bloke matches him. Jakey Melksham, I love his arms, but I love how he goes about his footy, and he's in the twilight of his career. But to have 11 shots on goal, and some of these goals that he kicked, you see that snap there on the right foot, these next to are from outside 50. And what I'm loving at the moment, we're seeing key forwards, and I'm putting him in the mould of a key forward at the moment because he's sort of playing that post, Lloydie, is that key forward's having lots of shots on goal at the moment.
Well, and he's having a role too. He's been a role base, and kind of like we spoke about Miles Bergman earlier, he's having a role, but then when they get the chance, he wants to get used in offence and make Mac Andrew defend him.
You know why he stands out at Melbourne? Because he's a natural footballer. Whereas you look at guys like Van Rooyen, it just doesn't. Everything's hard work. Harrison Petty, just not a forward. So Jake can keep playing for another 2 or 3 years because I think he's the most natural down there.
Yeah,
in the votes?
I did. I snuck him in. I had to sneak a Melbourne player in there, but I thought Matty Rao, John Noble were the 2 best players for Gold Coast. I love Melksham's game. I thought he was brilliant out there, and Miller, 7 votes. I thought he toiled hard all day as well.
Well, it's a huge Sunday on Channel 9. You've got us in the morning, the Sunday Footy Show, the original and still the best, and then you've got Footy Furnace tonight. You've got Jimmy Hurd, Jimmy Bartell. Tommy Morris not on tonight. I think he's away.
Tommy's
maybe,
not on.
No, he's not on. I think maybe just a bit of a touch-up with the plugs. He just needs a week away to Turkey just to get those plugs put back in. We're going to head to a break. The quiz. Welcome back to the Sunday Footy Show. Time for everybody's favourite segment, Brownie's Quiz. Brought to you by Sportsbet. $500 on the line. Who are we playing for?
Hosting the show and still doing your own quiz. You're a genius, Brownie. Andrew Sykes from Finley today in New South Wales.
Harley Kempton from Wickham, WA.
I'm playing for Angela Colicino from Reservoir in Victoria.
Yeah, and I'm Darren, 2 names, Bayless White, Cranbourne, South Victoria.
Nice one. So this is $500 on the line, by the way. Word association. So AFL player names and word association. So question number 1, and hello to you too, Tony Barber. The largest Mediterranean island can be associated with which?
No relation.
James Sicily.
Current club captain. Very good, James Sicily. So that's the feel of the quiz.
I like it,
very good quiz.
I'm in trouble.
Fill in the blank here. Phone, something, and wallet. What player?
I'm ready. Ben Keys.
Benny Keys is right, Llordo. Good quiz, isn't it? Good quiz, isn't it?
Keys up.
Famous faces. Okay, this is a tricky one. Which head coach, last name, could you see in a zoo? No.
No relation.
McGualter.
Oh, no.
No.
Negative one. Rossi Lion.
Ross Lion. It's speaking.
Take us through McQualter.
We had to have it, yes. I'll try to dive into that. Okay, so is Rosso himself. A couple of famous coaches.
I'll go Ronald Dale Barassi. Sony's man.
Yes.
You get the run on. So 250 games for Marcus Bontempelli. The run on is all Bont. Marcus Bontempelli was taken with pick what?
4.
Correct. Who is Bont's famous football cousin? Former Saint.
Geary.
Nick Del Santo, -1. Who did Bont come runner-up to in the Rising Star?
Lewis.
Lewis Taylor, Kingy. The Giants...
You didn't say it, you said Lewis, but that's all right.
Lewis Taylor, absolutely. Well done, Llordo. All right, Lewis Taylor. A Giants player, question number 4, whose last name comes from burnt wood.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Lockie Ash is right. Question number 5. What Bulldogs player's last name is also a shot in tennis?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Rory Lobb, Llordo. He's away.
Oh, Llordo.
Question number 6. Which Collingwood player shares his name with a major city in Texas?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Dan Houston, famous face, Llordo.
My brain doesn't think this quick on a Sunday.
Yeah. Your brain just doesn't think that quick.
I'll go Dennis Pagan.
Dennis. You can steal a point from somebody. This is all just turning unbelievable for Llordo.
Steal one off yourself already.
Question number 7. A former Adelaide coach with 2 first names.
No relation.
-1. Damien, you were next.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Neil Craig is right. Question number 8. Name any AFL player you could find on a chessboard.
Yeah, I'm ready.
David King, Jake King, Max King, Beg King, Chris Knights and Matthew Knights as well. Famous faces. For 2 points, name 2 players you would need to get the full name of Agent 86 from Get Smart.
Not mine.
No, not mine.
Go again.
So you got Maxwell and Smart.
Nigel Smart
Yes.
and Nick Maxwell.
No, well done, Damo.
Blighty, got to go Blighty.
Go Blighty.
One of my all-time favourites.
Bad luck, Damien. Okay, who am I? I played for 3 clubs for 5 points. I am a premiership coach. If you are thirsty, I am your man.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Luke Beveridge.
Luke Beveridge, Llordo. That is a smashing. Look at that.
Every week.
That's almost... That's game high, 11. Well done, Llordo. Who'd you play for? $500.
Angela Colicino from Reservoir in Victoria.
Angela, $500 coming your way thanks to Sportsbet. If you want to join in the fun here on the quiz, wwos.9/Brownies quiz. Going to head to a break. Coming up next, the primetime takeaways from Thursday and Friday night.
It is time for the primetime takeaways. And as I said, I love the game on Friday night. The Western Bulldogs v the Sydney Swans. And there's a lot of Sydney Swans bleeding at the fact of their last 2 weeks. So they kicked 9 goals, 17 against Port Adelaide 2 weeks ago when Amadi kicked 6 behinds and 2 non-scores. And they should have been better than this. I think they should have won this game with accuracy on the weekend. So they kicked 14 goals, 17, and was disappointing in that sense.
And it was early too, wasn't it, when the damage was done in this space.
Yeah, and it's critical. So we're going to look at the goal-kicking ladder, where we spoke truly for set shots after this. Rowbottom's had an issue with it for a while, and there's just some players. Knowing you need sort of someone within your team that you can truly trust. So Jack Gunston, for me, jumps off the page. Nick Larkey jumps off the page. Ben King is just a beautiful kick for goal. Geelong have a lot of them, you know, and that's an issue for the Sydney Swans.
And we're not talking about hard set shots.
No.
You can maybe excuse a couple. They're on the boundary, or where are they taking these marks and having these shots from? But they're gimmies.
And I'm shocked with the Crows down at 17.
I was amazed by that too.
And the best percentage in the competition. But good footy is good kicking. If you're going to win finals, you need to be kicking straight.
And just to remind people, and we'll do it on your behalf, you had your own personal percentage about 68 or 9, didn't you?
Yeah, but not the first 4 or 5 years would have been in the low 50s, so you can improve on it. You've got to have your own technique, but you can really improve it. But Sydney, with their full team back, what do you think? They won't play finals, Brownie.
They look much better. They look much better with Goulden.
Mm.
Goulden was slow in that first half, but you can see how they missed him. His ball use after half-time particularly was outstanding. And just the energy that Papley gave. I mean, he got sat on his backside before the bounce even started, but it gave them something, didn't it? It just gave them a little edge that they haven't had.
And Isaac, Western Bulldogs, what part of the final series can you see them ending up in?
Well, I can see them ending up into a prelim final. I think this year sets up a little bit. The way the 8's setting up is a little bit like 2016. So I know a lot of people saying, oh, Collingwood are that far ahead. To me, there's 7 or 8 teams that can have a genuine run at this. They just got to get their list right and get their game plan right for finals.
Port Adelaide v Carlton was a belting, as we've touched on. But I want to put to you, show you some vision. And am I looking too much into this? But could, after the Port Adelaide, they were belted by the Swans 2 weeks ago, could they, without having to make it public, have said, hey, Josh, you're the man now. Ken, we don't want you down below. Can you just go sit up and give it Carr his time? So I'm wondering, is it just that we're seeing more shots of Carr because Ken's now up in the box, or...
Which is unusual in itself. He's been on the boundary most of his career.
I just looked at it the other night and said, is it now Carr? Because he seemed like he was on the phone a lot. Ken didn't have the phone to his head.
And do you think that's a good idea, yeah?
Yes. Yeah, it's sort of what we've been talking about.
Well, maybe it's more of a coaching of a coach sort of role. He's up above. Well, what are you seeing, Curry? Or maybe pull this trigger. And he's now almost providing that apprenticeship.
And was there miscommunication, Damo, where they've streamlined it potentially?
No, I just think when it's all said and done, Llordo, we've all had opinions on this show and other platforms on Channel 9 about is this working or not. When it's all said and done, it's worked pretty well. They've got through to this stage of a season. Now,
they won't
I know they're coming.
Finals.
No, they won't. But you didn't have them in your 8?
Oh,
you did. Okay. Well, I don't think a lot of us did. And when they are still, I think, going to be dangerous in the run home. I think they've held the characters of those two people, particularly Kenny, in high regard.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to play them. I think that between Giants are out of the 8, but you wouldn't want to play Port coming if you're in the top 8.
Yeah, it was more a question around has it changed there?
I think it has been, yeah. Let's have a look at the Lou Richards leaderboard, and Nick Dacos will still be on top. Probably a couple of games clear now from Bailey Smith. Connor Rose's been fantastic since going back to half-back. Nazai Wanganeen Miller, Sarong, back-to-back best on grounds, and Noah Anderson. And they are playing for this. There is no prize in TV on football that is as good as this. This is the Lexus of Blackburn. Thank you to them very much. The Lexus LBX two-wheel drive, worth over $55,500, 12-month Vic Rego, all on-road costs. Lexus of Blackburn, very good to us, very good to the Nine Network, and obviously with Eddie's show on Footy Classified as well on a Monday and Tuesday night. So thank you to Lexus of Blackburn. We're going to head to a break on the Sunday Footy Show. All the burning news with Damo's Agenda up next.
Yeah, Sunday agenda time, Brownie. The condition of the SCG surface for Friday night's game, Swans v Bulldogs. Rory, was clearly substandard. These are skilled players just making inexplicable slip moments throughout the course of this game. It was on the left-hand side of the screen as you were watching it, and it is not acceptable. As a game coming up against Fremantle on Sunday, the AFL has sent experts to the ground. The problems do stem from a concert from Andre Bocelli at the start of the year, but really it's not acceptable for that to be presented for AFL players.
It's dangerous, isn't it? And yeah, bad timing too for an AFL memo to come out and say you can't wear the long tip or metal tip stops, because I think a few players have been wearing them for a long period of time, especially at the MCG where the grass is a bit shifty, and that would have been a perfect night to wear them whilst conditions were pretty putrid.
Yep. The Swans, who were good against the Bulldogs, coming off a grand final drubbing. A former great of the club, Ryan O'Keefe, on ABC Radio, had some comments about some of the actions of those players.
It's an interesting comment, like that the church, that's obviously they were expecting it. So there must be a bit of a lippy mob out there. Like that.
Well, the Giants...
I'm absolutely staggered. You'd be opening your mouth after the grand final performances you put in.
If you talk the talk, you got to back it up, and I think they backed it up tonight. So I don't think that's an issue. But if you're going to talk the talk and you're going to chirp and you're going to think, you need to actually have something behind it. So you got to be careful how far you go.
Isaac, it's a reference to Tom Papley taking on Sam Darcy before the match, and it was great theatre to see the small man take on the big man. What do you make of that type of assessment, and is it valid given they've been belted twice in in the past 3 grand finals?
Oh, I don't think it's valid at all, to be honest. You got to understand as a coach what makes your players tick, and Tom Papley, he ticks when he's up and about, he's chirping, he's taking on the opposition, he's verbal, he's physical. I thought that missed the mark a little bit, because what's he meant to do after he has a poor performance in a grand final? Not then play to his strengths. I thought Tom Papley added a hell of a lot to the Sydney Swans on Friday night, and they looked like a different side with him back.
Yep. Well, it looks like it's a breakaway top 9 on the AFL ladder, and just a complete quirk of the system after 5 weeks of buys, which I think have slowed the competition down. When we get to round 17, extraordinarily, the teams placed 1 to 9 are playing teams placed 10 to 18.
Yeah, it's been tough, to be honest, and it's disappointing. Other years you might have 12 sides who are all just jostling for the 8th spot. Unfortunate, we've just got a real gap this year from the best 9 to the next 9.
It's a genuine breakaway, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah. Some of those teams may cause some damage, but unlikely to make a push for the 8. Even in a bye round, Essendon suffered some injuries on the weekend. Darcy Parish, Mason Redmond, Cole Langford, all with soft tissue damage before a training session on the weekend, though, Rory. But those 3 are now in high doubt to return in round 17 when they're expected to.
There's going to be a big review in this department. Their high performance department has got to be reviewed, because they've had far too many injuries this year that has cost them. And when you have that many injuries and you're a young side, you need your players on the park, Llordo. And unfortunately for Essendon, whether it's unlucky or there's something that needs to change there.
So they're now expected to miss alongside Draper, Bryan, Reid and Ridley. It's a long injury list, and you've been saying, Llordo, that we have to wait till July to judge them properly, but without those 3 players, they're probably going to be more of the same. And just one more, Harry Edwards, West Coast Eagles, was chased around effectively by his club doctor in last night's game against Collingwood at Marvel from a head assessment perspective. This is not what the AFL wants. They would like him to be off the ground straight away. If the doctor feels the need to come and chat to him, they'd rather have that done off the field. And it did take some minutes, in fact, multiple minutes for this to actually take place, to have the assessment done off field. He was cleared, but it's just yet again a reminder, Brownie, that...
So you're saying the player should have come off earlier on his own?
There's still yet to actually get a full ruling on it as to how it's meant to look. But in terms of the optics with what the game is going through with litigation and other serious injuries in that space this year, they would rather that be dealt with.
Will we get to a point where there's a siren or something where just to say game stops? Because that went on for, I don't know, 4 to 5
10 minutes, I think.
Yeah, 10 minutes was it, yeah.
I think we're at the point now that players are recognising this themselves too. And most players will come off.
But he didn't last night.
No, he didn't, but that's one example. I think most players are aware now how serious concussion is.
Not sure about that. I still think players will try and
well, players don't want to come off, but players do not want to come off.
The hard one in this one is he's gone off and he's been cleared. Yeah. So he's telling the doctor, I'm okay, and it turns out he's okay.
Yeah, but they could have got him off quicker. He missed a large chunk of the game as well, just because he took so long.
I think any player will tell you he's okay too. Yeah. Animal fact coming up after the break. It's been a bit down lately. How do you feel about it? And did you go with the frog one I sent you?
I couldn't go with that one, Barry. No.
Why not? Do you need me back?
That's more Rory, sir.
Have you found a McWalter?
Animal fact coming up after the break. We'll also have a look at today's games. This is the Sunday Footy Show.
Make the most of the cooler months with a winter retreat at Langham Hotels and Resorts. In Melbourne, Sydney or the Gold Coast, enjoy a room upgrade, buffet breakfast for 2, bottle of sparkling and late checkout. The Langham Melbourne, a proud supporter of the Sunday Footy Show.
Welcome back to the Sunday Footy Show. A couple of big games going on today. Richmond taking on the Adelaide Crows at the MCG.
Yeah, big game. Big game for Adelaide. They don't get many opportunities to play at the MCG. They've got a good system. I'm loving their forward line at the moment. I want to see how it holds up at the G.
Who wins?
Adelaide.
And speaking of Adelaide, Jess Webster's out at the MCG with a special guest.
Thanks, Brownie. I'm here with Scott Burns, assistant coach of the Adelaide Footy Club. Scott, thanks so much for your time this morning. Welcome back to cold and windy Melbourne and wet Melbourne. Some things don't change, but obviously coming off a bye last week. Are you excited to get back into it and take on the Tigers at the G today?
Yeah, we are. We love getting back to the MCG. We don't get here too much. I think it's the 3rd time we've played here this year. Generally, we've played some pretty solid football here. Good break, come at a good time, I think. 14 games in a row, so the boys are freshened up and ready to go.
How did you approach the bye, and how much of it is about analysing the first half of the season or giving the playing group that mental and physical break?
Yeah, well, both. Look, we analyse all the time, week by week, but it's good just to have that little bit of a break from not performing or on a weekend, so the boys get away for 3 or 4 days. Coaches do as well. But yeah, there's a lot of things we've still got to work on. We're certainly not a finished product, so there's some strengths to our game that we've brought for the majority of the year, but there's some areas we certainly want to improve on.
So what are those areas that you're going to improve on in the second half of the year? It's a long season, as we know, so a lot of it is about trying to keep the players hungry and aggressive in their approach. But what is it in the second half of the year that you need to focus on to set yourselves up to have a really good crack at the premiership?
Well, it's mainly consistency. I think when we bring our effort and intent, certainly around the ball, we hunt opposition players, we don't give them much time and space. That's when we're playing our best, and a lot of our good work comes off that. So that's been a focus, and we certainly, it was positive when you have a bit of a breather, you have the bye during the weekend, you can actually hit that pretty hard at training. So we've done that. We certainly haven't gone light on them, so hopefully they bring that today.
And coming up against the Tigers, a young side at the other end of the ladder, but what do you need to be wary of?
Well, they've got some talent, some real speed in their front half, and one thing they have got now too, Nankervis and 3 senior midfielders in there as well. Broad and Vlossthorn are still playing pretty good footy in the back line, so they've got a good blend. They've got the experience there that is certainly performing at this point in time, but there's some youth there that's really exciting. And look, just being a neutral observer, you're sitting at home watching, you like watching Richmond games at the moment, so we've been really impressed by them.
And speaking of young, exciting talent, Dan Curtin signing on during the week on a 3-year deal. How much of that was a confidence boost to the group, knowing a young player with so much talent is committed to the club?
Yeah, look, we love it. It's always, there's always a risk of go-home factors when you're in a state, or even the Melbourne clubs when they get a boy from SA or WA. But look, he's really gelled in really well this year. Had a good season. Great for him to get the rising star there the other week, and he certainly fits in. The boys love him. And he's a big unit when you get alongside him. He's 6'6" or whatever he is, and I think he's going to be a big midfielder, so we're rapt to have him.
And cold and wet day in Melbourne, does it feel all too familiar for you?
It does. Certainly got the similar tones of grey that have always been here, but look, when it's a little bit slippery, it's a great day to play footy.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much for your time this morning. Go well today.
Thanks, Jess.
Thanks, Jess, and a big thanks to the Adelaide Football Club and Scotty Burns there. Fremantle is the next game. St Kilda, they've won 5 in a row, game for 6 in a row, Rory.
Yeah, Freo will win this one, I reckon, Llordo. But I'm not as excited as I am for footy as I am about Animal Fact, Damo.
Is that right?
Be a good one. Yeah, I'm more excited for Animal Fact this week.
All right, kids, it is time. It's time, Damo.
Well, Rory,
the frog. Have you got the frog out?
Where's
the frog?
No, there's no frog, Browny. Just let the frog go. You present that next week as host. Baby elephants are so cute. They often have issues with getting up on their feet when they're young, and this particular baby elephant had a lot of problems with slipping and sliding. You can just see the protection of Mum there. Mum looks after him. He's all fine, Brownie. He's all good. But the only reason we're playing an animal...
okay?
Only reason we're playing an animal slipping and sliding is to play the great slip and slide from Buddha Hocking there. In the peak of his powers at the Geelong Footy Club. No, when Billy Brownless handed down the Animal Fact to me many years ago, he said that has to be played 3 times a year. And I think we're up to 2 already.
It's funny every time.
That looked like the players of the SCG.
Nice work, Damo. We're going to head to a break. The handball up next, Louis Handball. Massimo D'Ambrosio is back, and a Bulldogs young gun in Cooper Hynes. Welcome back to the Sunday Footy Show. Time for everybody's favourite segment, Louis Handball. And I tell you what, we have an issue with the motor of the handball today, so it might be a little bit easier. But Massimo D'Ambrosio, welcome back again. You were on the panel earlier. Cooper Hynes from the Western Bulldogs, welcome, mate. A good win against the Sydney Swans the other night.
Great win, yeah. To go down to Sydney and beat them's never easy, so for the boys to hold on, it was a great effort.
Your first half in particular was really good. Nice bit of candy sold in the back end, and then 2 big smothers on the outer side. You're playing some nice footy.
Yeah, definitely. I think the more exposure I get at the top level, I'm getting more comfortable and getting used to it. So, yeah, every minute I spend out there, I'm super grateful and I'm loving it.
And it's a forward line that you must be pretty excited to be part of. There's big boys, there's great crummers, and yourself at that medium size.
Yeah, for sure. I think we've got a good balance of, obviously we've got a star in Sam Darcy and Aaron Norton as the talls, but then the small blokes like Riley West and Laith Vandermeer that help out at ground level as well. So I think we've got a really good balance and we're playing some good footy.
For someone just starting out in the game with the stars in the eyes, what's it like playing with the great Marcus Bontempelli?
Oh yeah, it's pretty amazing. Rocking up day 1 of pre-season when Bont's there, it's pretty surreal, and being able to train with him every day, you get to learn so much in the way that he brings everyone else along with him. For the short time I've been there, that's what I've noticed. So, yeah, it's awesome playing with him.
And what do you guys need to hone in on this back part of the year to beat these top 4 sides?
Yeah, I think just being consistent with our method and the way we go about it with our pressure and work rate, and our contest is obviously a strength. So just sticking to our our strengths and putting it together for the whole 4 quarters, I think.
You were drafted from the Dandenong Stingrays. What role were you an inside midfielder there?
I was more mid forward. I've always been as a junior. I've always been a forward, but as I got a bit fitter and last few years I've moved into the midfield a bit more. So still building up the tank, but more 50-50 midfield forward last year.
The old man Johnny Hynes played for the Blues 4 games back in '98. You're going to eclipse that comfortably?
Yeah, I got him. It was a bit flat a few weeks ago when I played my 5th game. It wasn't until then where he was claiming that he was a better footballer. But, there's no arguing now. I've got him, I reckon.
Yeah, good.
All right, well, this is the best prize pack in the business that you're playing for today, and might be a little bit easier without the motor going. But the winner of Loose Handball, spectacular, fully adjustable Temper mattress. This is the best mattress on the planet, bar none. You go to every country in the world, and they have got the Temper. It is the best. Ergo Smart technology. It goes up, it goes down. You go into 0G, which is where astronauts take off before they go to the moon. And then you sleep well at night, Llordo. I always say this. You sleep well at night, and then you go out and play well at day. The Callaway, a full set of elite golf clubs from our top mates at Callaway, along with a custom fitting at Callaway HQ. Total prize of around $15,000. Are you both golfers?
I'm no good.
I'm no good either.
Okay, that's great.
Cooper, any feedback for your mate Harvey Langford when he was in?
I gave him some feedback. He was terrible when I was...
Opposite hand was no good, wasn't it?
All right, so how are we going to work this target?
What I think is, if one of these guys beats Brett Delidio, that we bring them in, Brett back in, and they have a handball off when the motor's working.
Love that. Loves his first dollar ever earned, Brett Delidio, so he'll be filthy.
Fair, I think if they beat Brett, we get Brett back in, they play off.
Fine by me. Fine by you, Damo.
That's a good plan.
All right.
Thank you.
Well done. All right. Well, we don't move the target, but we're going. Who wants to go first? Massimo's up first.
Izzy, let's get this moving.
You do it. We just say...
Hang on. We just made a plan, and you clowns have gone over there and just wrecked the plan.
We just
bring it down to the bottom
with the plan is that if they beat Brett, Brett's coming back in, so we just leave it, boys.
So we can't spin it?
Were you not listening then?
Yeah, just get it off.
Okay.
We're leaving it right.
You count, give them the balls.
We'll just cut that bit out.
7.
Oh, no.
5. 5, not good.
Bit louder, Isaac.
That's nice.
Brett Delidio.
What have we done?
And 7. Good start.
39. I'll count it for you, Isaac.
Come on, Cooper.
7.
Harvey's going to be watching.
Give it a little bit.
7.
14.
7.
21.
7.
Going to need a 10.
Powder puff Hynes. 33. 39 plays 33.
Opposite hand.
Ambrosio.
Oh, no.
Ready,
It's a few of the opposite.
40.
7.
51. 7. 58.
Hands.
7.
65. So he can't win it.
And 7.
72.
Don't mind it, though.
All right.
Score.
Cooper Hynes.
7.
Sorry, what was that?
Loopy.
7.
What are we up to?
47.
47.
7.
54.
54.
Not going to win it from here.
7.
Bit more on it.
61. And finishes with a bullseye. Finishes strongly. So Massimo, well done. Wins by 1. So pretty safe. Pretty safe down there.
Safe.
You've been doing Bevo's Handball Club?
A little bit, yeah.
Well, thanks very much for joining us on the Sunday Footy Show on Louis Handball. Good luck. Both look like you're going to play finals football this year, and we appreciate your time today.
Thank you very much.
All right, whatever.
Well hosted, Browny, too.
Oh, thank you, Damien. Thank you, Damien.
Very nice stuff.
TJ be back next week, will he? He's okay? Rest, the relaxation, all done?
I don't know. I actually don't know.
It's a bit of a sensitive one, that.
It's a bit of a sensitive one.
I'm not buying into it, no.
You're not buying into it.
Have you been told?
I haven't been told anything. I'm happy to host next week if it comes to that, but wherever you may be, may the sun shine on you today.